characterize the behavior of all consumers today. In everything that we do, we expect more. Our grandparents, for those of us as old as me, our parents get freaked out by ad retargeting, right? Because they went to shop for something and all of a sudden they're getting served ads that are about that thing they were shopping for. How did that happen? Do they have a spy cam? How do they know that this is really going down? And millennials are freaked out by retargeting because they already made the purchase from another vendor and they're still getting retargeted, and something in the MarTech stack must be broken, right? How do they not know I already bought this? There's some big magic data machine out there that understands everything. Our expectations for how this stuff should work and how data should feed personalized experiences are totally out of hand. I would further argue that when we grew up, the only brand choices that we made as consumers were possibly around how we dressed and maybe around kind of what car we drove. Those were our brand choices. But thanks to social media, we are all brand managers. Every one of us. Talking about my entitled teenage son, the amount of thought that he goes into in terms of like what playlists should be public and what playlists are kind of dorky and I need to keep private, and my pictures and profile pictures and all that, and we're all that way. We manage our own brands. We understand how marketing works in a fundamentally different way. We got so excited about this topic that I wrote a book called Marketing to the Entitled Consumer with a friend named Dave Franklin, and the point of the book is to talk about how relationship marketers can bridge this gap of rising consumer expectations. So what I'm going to do today quickly is talk about some findings from the book and then talk about how AI is a solution to some of the problems. So we did a lot of research. We interviewed 7,000 consumers in Europe and the US, a bunch of focus groups, talked to a bunch of marketers, and we came up with 4 segments of consumers. Folks who were indifferent, people who were demanding, people who were anticipators, and finally, fully entitled consumers. I'm going to describe that briefly. So anticipators, these are kind of happy shoppers. They want to engage with your brand, but they expect you to do it very well. So they're happy for their data to be used to engage them, and half of them read all the messages from companies they like. They're in, but their expectations for your performance is high. Then there's a tougher group, the demanders, and the demanders say, I want value for my dollar. I want to be able to return stuff that I don't like, and I'm a little bit wary of sharing too much data. And when we add it all up, about 2/3 of consumers in the US and the 5 European countries that we looked at are entitled, have high expectations. So they further told us that they expect every brand to perform like the best brands. Used to be you compared car shopping to other car shopping experiences. Now everything comes through the same interface, whether it's on your phone or your laptop. That means that you expect all those experiences, regardless of industry, to meet the standards set by the best performing customer experience providers in the market, regardless of industry. That sucks. That's really hard because there's some people that are doing a great job and you have to live up to those expectations. So this is an example of this all gone wrong. This is someone who shared some information from an auto club in the book, and they described how they sent out an email, 150,000 emails, to promote a CD with a $100 bonus if you signed up for this $10,000 CD. Open rate is there. 22 people out of the 150,000 that they emailed actually signed up, right? They got about $4,000 in value out of that. But at the same time, 75 people unsubscribed because they found the offer so annoying. The additional value every email subscriber provides to the Auto Club is $86 per year. Average membership 10 years, about 20 years. Yeah, they made $4,000, but they cost themselves about $100,000 in future revenue because they sent a message that was first of all, it's a terrible offer. Second of all, it had no relevance to almost everyone who didn't join the Auto Club to buy CDs, right? It's an extreme example, but if you don't send out the right kind of messaging, there are real consequences. Consumers said to us, 94% of entitled consumers, I expect to be treated as an individual, not the members of a segment, and most of us do segment-based marketing, and that's where it gets hard. Della doesn't care, but I care, and I think it's important that we reach out to people based on their individual preferences. This was a quote from a focus group we did in Stockholm, which I love. If you have my data, figure it out. It's your problem, not my problem that you provide me with the right kinds of experiences. So what are we going to do? Churchill said, a pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity, and an optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. BCG says there's $800 billion out there for those that personalize best. What do you need? Something called consumer-first marketing, solve, then sell. You need a flexible open platform like the Selligent platform, but like other platforms as well. You need our book, because it's the best book that was ever written. And you need AI, which is what I'm going to talk about briefly to wrap up. The AI I'm going to talk about is machine learning, which is we think the kind of artificial intelligence that's most valuable to email marketers. What does it do? It flips traditional programming on its head. In traditional programming, you put data and an algorithm into a computer and you get a result. Machine learning says, I'm going to take the data and the outcome I want, and I'm going to derive the algorithm back out of it, right? Easiest example is Netflix. Like everybody else, Netflix started off by personalizing based on self-reported enjoyment. How many stars did you give the movie, the TV show, whatever? That turns out not to work very well. What works better is deriving through machine learning what people like and what they will expect. McKinsey says by switching to machine learning algorithms, Netflix saved $1 billion over a 5-year period because the machine learning-driven recommendations were so much more powerful and accurate than what people said about themselves. The algorithms really, really measure your behavior. So, this is sort of how it works, but basically it's saying the predicted top 3 performs better than what your own ratings would suggest. So what do marketers need to do? We're trying to provide a better consumer experience for everybody, trying to figure out who we're marketing to, what do they want, and how do they want it. There's our little Lego guy. The problem is we're trying to do it to millions of Lego guys all at the same time, and that's where it gets complicated. If you think about the amount of work is required to offer one-to-one personalization, doing it with AI involves much less effort because the machine does the work and lets you focus on the creativity and the structure. So what are we going to do? We're going to offer up the right content to each individual in the same way that each of us sees a different Facebook page. We're all going to see different offers. And we're going to do it in real time by figuring out what we want to sell, training our system, and then driving content. We've seen these results, product page views per session going up 3 times with AI, average cart size going up by 55%, because of the power of AI to custom tailor those experiences. You need to find the right audience. You have different campaigns that you're doing, you've got some content, and then you use your system to figure out who should be getting those messages. More campaigns, smaller audiences, better results, fewer irritated consumers. And finally, you've got to get your journey right? So we've got the content, we've got the target. Now how are we going to do it? We're going to optimize our send time by looking at each individual's behavior so that we can get messages to the top of the inbox. Our offering is called Selligent Cortex. It's part of the overall Selligent Marketing Cloud, which is a B2C marketing automation platform. We offer Audience AI, Journey AI, Offer AI, all built for email marketers, all easy to use, don't need to be a data scientist to take advantage of it, because this stuff is getting harder. Entitled consumers are demanding more. We think you can make a real difference through AI, through understanding what you need to do with entitled consumers, and understanding the goal here, this is my last point, is not perfection. Perfection is too hard. The goal here is just to outperform the people you're competing against by understanding how consumer behavior is changing and what tools you need to serve those consumers better. And with that, you'll succeed in a very turbulent marketplace. Thank you very much.